We perish for the lack of knowledge. Join me on this exclusive interview with Lisa Marie as we dive deep in what the church lacked that caused her to perish spiritually, dabbling in horoscopes and tarot. At some point, transitioning from receiving tarot reading to doing them on herself.
Born in the islands, U.S. Virgin Islands. Grew up in the church, had a grandmother that was an evangelist. She had a prison ministry, church ministry, and she had a street ministry where she would go out into the streets and evangelize to people and stuff like that. And even as a teenager, I was into like zodiacs and stuff like that. I didn't even know that it was witchcraft. I didn't know it because growing up in the church, I've never heard the pastors talk about the occult. They talk about Satan all the time, but they never talk about the ways that Satan can infiltrate your life. I paid her $5 and asked her one question. And, the question, from that one question, it just made me feel like, okay, I need to know more. I wasn't even like talking to God about anything that I was going through. I'm talking to the tarot lady now.
That became your God.
That became my God. And if you know, like I know, God is jealous.
Yes, he is.
From the occult to a redirection in life by a simple, small, gentle voice from the Holy Spirit.
Down to the king, then he told me to ride. I'm a brand new creature because they owe me to die. I'm new.
All right, Lisa, thank you for joining us. I'm excited. Yes, absolutely. So you want to tell the people how this got started, how we got here?
Man, like that, like really, and you don't even know the whole story of how I found you and anything. I just jumped on the wave and started commenting in your comment section and just started following you. But for me, it was like a whole journey. It was like I was literally in a place where I recommitted myself to God because I was at a really, really low point. And this time around, I told myself and I told God, I was very honest. And I said, God, I'm going back down to nothing.
Wow.
And I'm going to relearn you.
Right.
I told God, I say, disconnect me from anything and anyone that you don't want me to be with. And God did exactly that. I started losing everything.
Oof.
I started losing a bunch of stuff in my life. Things started going crazy.
You gotta be careful what you ask God for.
And yes, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna stand in this, even though it don't feel too good. I'm scared. I'm gonna stand in this. So I joined TikTok. I really like TikTok. And at the time, I was still like, in the world and trying to, recommit myself to God. So I started following a whole lot of Christian content creators just to, get myself back in how do I say it? Just get myself back in to relation. Acclimating, yeah. So I ended up coming across your page. The first thing I saw was like a post about a celebrity or something like that, and then how you took that and you related it to Christianity and kind of made it all make sense. And I was like, oh, I kind of like this girl. Like she's like a regular, she's a regular. Yep. So it just went from there. Like I found your page, I started commenting, you would comment back, you would talk back to the audience and engage us back. And I really, really like that about you. I'm like, man, like she is so down to earth, so humble. Like she just seems so cool and so easy to talk to and not too like churchy, So and I was just like, man, I like that about her. So I just followed and I've been following. And the last time I commented on your one of your posts about what we're about to get into tonight, you was just like, hey, why don't you come on and let's talk about it? And I was blown away. I was like, oh my God. And I was kind of scared at the same time too, because I'm like, oh, I've never done this before.
Well, it's the first time for everything. I want to first off thank you, Lisa, for sharing your story. And you guys, it's a true testament. And like she said, we're gonna get into the just of things. But Lisa, let people know like where you grew up in. Like let's start from the very beginning.
Okay, from the very beginning, I was born in the islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands. Grew up in the church, had a grandmother that was an evangelist. She had a prison ministry, church ministry, and she had a street ministry where she would go out into the streets and evangelize to people and stuff like that. And I grew up seeing that. Both parents went to church and was, strict, was in Christianity real heavy. Um, we ended up moving to Miami, Florida, and that's really where I spent a bulk of my childhood, in Miami, Florida. And that's when like my life just took a turn. Like I went from being the cute little church girl to the church girl out in the world,
What
being
happened?
exposed to so much. Just growing up, I mean, we didn't have a lot of money when we was growing up, my family. So, we grew up in the hood, and when you grow up in those type of environments at a young age, you get exposed to a whole lot before your time. And it's so easy to be, drawn into, premarital sex, to drugs, to violence, to a whole bunch of things. And I experienced a lot of it, and I had to grow up really, really fast, and at some point in my youth, it just became normal. Whatever I was doing, whether I was smoking weed, whether I was fornicating, whatever I was doing, it was just normal.
Right.
Because everybody was doing it. That's the environment. That's just what it is,
Right.
I went all after my parents divorced, my mom moved to Houston. I was still kind of in between during high school, between Houston and Miami, going back and forth, because I couldn't stand Houston. I'm like, ugh, it's too slow here. It's too slow in Texas. So I had a hard time getting used to just being here.
Right.
But God knew what He was doing the whole entire time, because had I would have stayed in Miami throughout my high school years or whatever, I would either be in prison or dead.
Right.
Oh, so how did you get into the occult? And please be specific with what exactly occult practices that you start dabbling in. When did that come about? Like, how did you get introduced to it?
Well, even as a teenager, I was into like zodiacs and stuff like that. I wasn't super into it. I've never been heavily into it like that. But I would always check horoscopes and proclaim to be a proud Scorpio and stuff like that. And so I believed in it, because a lot of the stuff that would be read to me, or the characteristics of whatever my sign, it would be true. So I believed in it.
Right.
And I didn't get into tarot until I was about in my mid 20s. I want to say like 20, 25, 26, 27. That's when I started to, get into tarot. And it was kind of like a slow introduction into tarot, because for one, I didn't even know that it was witchcraft. I didn't know it, because growing up in the church, I've never heard the pastors talk about the occult. They talk about Satan all the time, but they never talk about the ways that Satan can infiltrate your life. And they never talk about the trickery of Satan. They never get into great detail about it. So I didn't even know that it was witchcraft, So how I got into it, I had a terrible breakup around that age. I had a terrible breakup. I was super heartbroken, wasn't ready to let go, like and I think at that time I kind of wanted to figure out what was next, like
that
what
unknown.
was the unknown. And it kind of drew me in, because I'm like, okay, well, what happens now? What I mean, and it would drive me crazy, because the breakup itself, I'm grieving the loss of that relationship. So I'm just like, well, does this person, is he hurt the way I'm hurt? Is he thinking what I'm thinking? And I had a specific tarot reader who would read for me, and I would take my questions to her, and she would give me these responses. And the last time I spoke to my ex, a lot of what she said, he also said. So
wait, Lisa.
How did you get to sitting down in front of somebody and them doing the cards for you? Now, I understand horoscopes. You look it up and you go online, but how did like Where did that come from? Let me go into one of these shops and get my cards read.
I never went into a shop.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
how I got into it was I I would watch YouTube videos all the time, and you know how on your For You, like different content creators will come up.
Mm-hmm.
So this one girl just kept coming up on my timeline. So I started watching her videos, and the more I would watch her videos, the more I would get interested. I would get intrigued, like, let me see what this is about. Till one day, I paid her $5 and asked her one question, and the question from that one question, it just made me feel like, okay, I need to know more. I want to know
Right.
more about the situation. I want to know more, and I thought that it was kind of healing me from whatever I was going through at that time, but it really wasn't. And that's the trickery of the enemy. It really wasn't. It made me feel like I was getting closure that I thought I needed, that I never really needed. But in the end, it made me just sicker. It made me hurt even more.
Wow. So, and you know what? You're absolutely right, because that's how it went for me. Um, it was Facebook for me, and this girl, she would do the live cards, and she just like seemed so like down to earth. She was yelling at the kids in the background, and so I was like, I was like, oh my God, she's so like a regular person. Like she just has the gift. And I did the same thing, paid her, and then they leave you right there on the edge, and you like, here, more, and it's just like, okay, what, you know what I'm saying? And they do that intentionally, but like you said, it's like a band-aid. It doesn't do really anything. It constantly leaves you seeking, for more, and then you get so deep in that rabbit hole, you just get messed up.
Yeah, and that's how I was. And it got to a point where I wasn't even like talking to God about anything that I was going through. I'm talking to the terror lady now.
Ooh, that became your God.
That became my God. That became my God. And if like I know, God is jealous.
Oh, yes, he is. Oh,
So that became
yikes.
my God. So I talk, in that comment that I left on your post, it got to a point where I started hearing the voice of God when I got in real, real deep. And I knew I was in real deep because it went from me paying her to do the readings to me purchasing my own cards and doing my own readings. I didn't need the
Girl.
middleman anymore. I was going to the enemy myself. You know, I started doing my own readings
How did we get there? How did we get there?
because I wanted to know more. I wanted to know more about my love life. I wanted to know more about my finances. I wanted to know more about my future. I wanted to know more about whatever was coming to me, whatever would come to my head. Oh, ask her about the house that you want, or ask her about the husband that you want, and ask her about this and that and that. I wanted to know more, and I'm paying this lady, and it just hit me one day. Why are you paying her? Just go get your own cars.
Oh, that one on
And I listened to that voice. I said, you know what? That makes logical sense. Let me go get
And
my
you know
own car.
what?
You sound like Naja Austin. I don't know if you follow her, but I interviewed her, and she was like, it wasn't like somebody introduced me to it. It was a voice that told me, go check out your horoscopes. I said, are you serious? She said, yes. It wasn't no man showed me. I went, she said, I heard it myself. Oh,
Yep. That's how it happens. That's how it happens. It's the trickery of the enemy. And if you are not filled with the Holy Spirit, if you're not filled with Jesus, you will confuse the voice of the enemy with the voice of the Lord. And it will make you think, because it's logical, and you don't feel any guilt or shame. You don't feel any embarrassment. You will believe that that's God that's directing you.
yeah, because you don't know the wrong behind it. Like you say, you wasn't taught at church. And this is the reason why it's so important that these church leaders are held to task, because we are perishing for the lack of knowledge. I was there where you were. I was lukewarm. Horoscopes, fornicating in the choir though. Okay. but I wasn't hearing what I need to hear. That you need to repent. Like, this is wrong. Like, this is why, like you said, that the word of God says the angel, Satan masquerades as the angel of light. So it's no wonder, no surprise that his servants also masquerade as good. Like, what are we talking about? And these are agents.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So that's how that journey went from just me being a a little teenager just reading horoscopes to now I'm doing my own tarot reading. I don't need the third party anymore. You know, I go to the God that I serve, and it wasn't the Heavenly Father. I go to this God.
You both, you being honest about it, and we ain't talking about the same guys. I'm happy you saying that.
Yeah. So I'm like, you tell me what you got for me, you know? And I didn't feel anything about it for a long time. That's the strange part about it looking back, is that I didn't feel any conviction. I didn't feel anything until I started to get convicted. And that's when I knew. I was like, okay, I've been following the wrong voice this whole entire time. Like, because it sat on me so heavy. I I couldn't shake it. I couldn't shake it. And I thought I was going crazy at first because the voice of God is a very subtle voice, you
Mm.
know, but it's so powerful that it'll
Mm.
cause you to lose sleep if you don't obey. It'll
Ooh.
cause you to lose money if you don't obey. Like, you will literally curse yourself
Yeah.
from refusing to obey the voice of God. It's
Yeah.
not a loud voice. And people think that
Mm-mm.
God's voice is like what they hear in the movies, is loud
Ooh.
and thunder and lightning. No,
It's
it's not.
not.
It's a
It's
very
gentle.
subtle, gentle, soft voice, but it is powerful and
Powerful.
it
It's
comes with
authority. The authority
conviction.
in it. The
Yes,
authority. You right on it.
yes,
Because that scripture,
yes.
he said it wasn't, I can't remember who he was talking to, but I think it was Isaiah, because he was running away from, I think it was Isaiah or Ezekiel. One of them was running away from Jezebel.
And he went up to the cave, and it was thunder, and he was like, but God wasn't in the thunder. Earthquakes, God wasn't earthquake. But then a still, gentle voice came. And that was God. And that, you're absolutely right. People, he can use all of that. But now, when you know his voice is subtle, but it's got authority in it. And you be like, oh.
Yes, it
So
will get your attention.
so, okay, so where did this come from? Did you have an encounter with somebody? Did just God just spoke to you
I did.
directly?
I did. Okay, so let me backtrack just a little bit.
Yes.
So, um, before I started doing my own readings, I met another tarot reader from the tarot community, off of YouTube. So I booked her. I think I booked her one time, maybe two times. But I could remember one time for sure. I booked her and I asked her, it was a 3-question booking. So you ask the 3 questions, whatever it is, love, finances, whatever. So I asked her all the 3, I asked her about love. I asked her about a business idea that I had at the time. And I asked her a general, which is general is just like, they just tell you, whatever they pull. So she told me that I was going to meet a certain person during a new chapter in my life. She told me the sign of the person, like the zodiac sign of the person. She didn't tell me when, but she said when it's a new beginning, new chapter in your life, you're going to meet this person, and you and this person are going to be together for a long time. Y'all are going to be connected and da 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 da. So didn't tell me if it was a male or female, whatever. Fast forward, I ended up getting a new contract at work, and I met this person, same sign and everything. So me being so caught up in the tarot and zodiac, I said, "Oh my God, this is fate. This has to be it. This is the person." So I start seeing this person, start dating this person, and at the time I was still smoking weed, not heavily, but I was still getting high.
Mhm.
So one day, me and the dude, we were sitting outside and we were smoking weed and we was talking. And literally, I saw a figure, a black figure, come up from behind him with horns on his head. And I looked and I was like, it blew my high instantly because I never saw nothing like that before.
Right.
So I see a black figure come up from behind him, and I'm watching him as I'm, getting high. I'm watching him, and I'm seeing like his tongue, like God just lifted like a veil off me, and I saw the spiritual part of this person. And this person was a demon, but I got scared because I've never seen that. I've always known that people could be demon possessed and whatnot, but I've never seen it with my own two eyes. And in that moment, I heard God's voice say, leave, but I didn't leave. I didn't leave the situation. I didn't get up and walk away. I stayed, and I was trying to figure out what the heck was it that I saw. I thought it was the weed. Like, I'm tripping because it's a bad weed, but it wasn't.
It was some good.
It was a real good weed because I'm seeing people's spirits. Like,
I'm just saying.
I'm seeing people's inner spirits,
Girl.
And I disobeyed the voice of God in that moment. I didn't listen to the voice of God because, like I said, his voice is very soft, it's very subtle, but I knew I heard something tell me, leave this situation. But I didn't leave. I did not leave. So from that encounter, I left. In that moment, when the night was over, I left, and I honestly felt like I made a deal with the devil. Like I couldn't shake the feeling that like I just what we just talked about, because we was talking about moving forward in a relationship, whatever, and I agreed to it, and I left the situation not feeling good, and I'm like, I feel like I literally just made a deal with the devil. And for a while, I kept seeing them, and it was just like everything was just like going off, like red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. But girl, the red flags be looking like Six Flags. So the red flags be looking like Six Flags. Yes, the red flags be looking like Six Flags. And I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy this ride. If it work out, great. If it don't, it don't. Because the tarot lady told me that this was going to work out and we was going to be connected for a long time. So I'm just going to go with it. Girl. So after that experience, I was just like, and just being like let down from that experience, expecting, something to come from it, but nothing never came from it. Just being let down from that. I was just like, okay, well, I guess the tarot lady lied. So, So I was just like, okay, well, forget it,
Right.
But it was that experience. That was the first time in a long time that like I could hear the voice of God, but I was in the world. I wasn't trying to hear God. I can hear him, but I wasn't trying to follow him. I wasn't trying to listen to him. He was trying to protect me the whole time. I know what I saw in that person that night. I know I saw it, but I wasn't trying to hear it. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh. So you in this place, you're going through this, and if you notice, since you opening up the whole tarot, your life just was going
up and down, up and down.
How did you get out?
Really, it wasn't like how did you get out? It was just like me making a decision, because throughout all of that, because I was into tarot, I want to say from like 27 on up to like 33. Okay, my age.
In it for a minute.
27 up to, yeah. So it wasn't like, oh, how did you get out? It was just me making a decision to just obey, because I started doing my own readings, like I said. So I was just, I still didn't think anything was wrong with it. I'm not soliciting clients, and what I'm saying, like, I'm just doing this for me.
Wow.
So it got to a point where I started watching more. I started watching TD Jakes, to be honest with you. I started watching his videos on YouTube.
How'd that work out for you?
Girl, it didn't. It didn't, but I thank God for him, and God bless him, because let me tell you why. He talked about the occult a little bit in one of his sermons.
Okay.
And this kind of opened my eyes, because like I said, I grew up in a church and I never heard pastors, deacons, anybody talk about the occult and what is witchcraft, and how people practice witchcraft without even knowing it.
Right.
But he talked about it in one of his sermons, so it kind of opened my eyes a little bit. So I'm still, I'm watching, TD Jakes and other Christian services online, but I'm also still into the tarot. And then the more I start watching the Christian sermons, the more I start hearing that voice again. Anytime I would pull out my tarot cards to do a reading for myself, I would hear a voice say witchcraft. I ignored it, do my reading. Then the next time I pull it out again, do a reading, it's witchcraft. I'm like, no, that's just me. That's me. That's my mind. Just, you know what I'm saying?
You ain't listening to God. Listen to yourself. You ain't even.
Girl, I wasn't listening to. That's how much of a mess. Okay,
Girl. Oh, that's just me. That's just me. I ain't gonna listen.
yeah, but it's just us feeding our flesh. Like, when you are not led by spirit, you feed your flesh.
Yes.
Yes. So I'm like, no, that's just my voice. I know I ain't tripping. I ain't hearing things. So the more I would do it, the more I would hear it's witchcraft. And then one day I stopped hearing that voice. And then when I noticed that I wasn't hearing that voice anymore, that's when I was like, oh, snap, this feels familiar. Because the last time God told me, don't do that, leave that, and I didn't leave that, I got wrecked. Mm-hmm. So this time God told me, it's witchcraft, put that down, don't do that. I stopped hearing that voice. I know I'm headed in a danger zone. So I just made the decision. I said, okay, well, I'm not going to do this anymore. But I still didn't throw my cards away. I still had them in a shelf somewhere. I had them in the shelf somewhere for a while. I ain't throw my cards away just in case. Because I was like, just in case, it was me. I didn't throw my cards away right then and there. I didn't. But I decided to stop. I decided to stop doing the readings or whatnot. And after a while, once I did start, getting more and more back dedicated, I just was like, girl, throw these cards out. Like, why do you have this stuff here? Like, clean house. This stuff is a distraction, and it's tempting, because it'll pull you back in. Because I'm a human being, just like you're a human being, and everyone else is having human experiences. We get tempted by things, especially when we don't know something, we want to know something. It's too easy for me to go to that drawer and pull out them cards and, shuffle them and see what comes out.
Right.
And before you know it, you're back down that hole.
Right.
So for me, it wasn't like something pulled me out. It was just me making the decision. Okay, I don't want God to wreck me again. Mm-hmm. The last time he wrecked me, he beat me up pretty good. Okay, he just turned me loose to them demons, and them demons beat me up pretty good. So I don't want to go back down that road again. Yeah. So this time I'm going to be obedient. I said, I'm going to be obedient. God, forgive me for not being obedient right when you told me to.
Right.
But I'm going to be obedient. And I put them cards down. Then I threw them away, and I haven't turned back since.
So have you had any backlash from the spirits because you done deterred from them?
Of course.
We hear about that. People
really?
Of course. Whenever you attach yourself to any type of sorcery, witchcraft, anything like that, you literally come into agreement with them. Okay? And the dangerous thing about, practicing witchcraft or any type of occult practices is that in the demonic world, there's no sin if you agree to it. They can use your agreement in a court of heaven, right? Mm-hmm. They can say, well, God, look, we did not. Your child agreed to do this. They agreed to give me their soul. They agreed to, So once you come into that agreement with them, you belong to them. Mm-hmm. Because mind you, God give us all free will. So if you say, well, I'm gonna go and do this, I'm gonna do love spells, or I'm gonna do whatever, you come into agreement with them demons, you belong to them now. You've taken yourself out of the protection of God. So when you try to get away from these demons, you try to cut the cord, cut the ties with them. Oh, they get vicious. They get angry. Hell gets angry because they feel like they're losing a soul, and they want it back.
Yeah.
So what does the Bible talk about when someone gets delivered from a demon? The demon go out and get how many more?
Yes, seven more spirits, even more worse, 7 times worse.
And they come back to that house.
Yep.
And that's what happens. When I stopped doing tarot, I started having nightmares. I would have night sweats every night, and I would see figures in my room. I started having these horrible nightmares. Like, I had a dream. This was, I believe it was like in December of 2023, where there was a woman who was doing spell work on me. She was doing witchcraft on me. And in the dream, she was very jealous of me. She felt like I was prettier than her. So the spell work that she was doing was to, ruin my looks. So in the dream, I'm watching myself sleeping in the dream, and there's a demon, a female demon, that is scratching my face up in the dream. And it felt so real. When I woke up, it felt so real. If you go like this and you scratch yourself, you still kind of feel, the sensation of the scratch. When I woke up, it felt just like that. It felt just like that. And in less than 30 days, my skin started breaking out. I started having hyperpigmentation like never before. All these skin issues. And I knew it was because of that agreement. I broke that agreement, and they are angry about it. Right. It's a very, very dangerous game. Like, and it's new, it's popular now. A lot of young people are doing it, men and women. They want to do love spells on each other and stuff like that. Like, please, if you are into doing that stuff, please listen to me. Stop doing that. Stop doing that, because so many times these love spells go wrong, and the person ends up killing the other person because they're so obsessed, and they can't let go, or they don't understand why they're feeling this feeling for this other person, and it drives people crazy because you're infringing on their free will, and it can get very, very dangerous. The spirit world is nothing to play with. It is nothing to tamper with. Like, leave it alone.
Yeah, because the spirit world, what people fail to realize is the spirit world is as real as the natural, if even more so. It's even more so real than the natural world, and people just do not understand it. And that's why I made a vow to talk about spiritual warfare, because I mean, like you said, for years in my church home, that was not taught. We would hear snippets, but they wouldn't go deep in it. And I didn't know to study to show myself approved by God. I just knew, like, church, okay, take my notes, study what it is, but it was very surface. I was lukewarm for years. And it wasn't until literally probably about a year and a half ago where the Lord told me, now it's time to go deep. And I was just like, I felt horrible because he was exposing a lot of stuff like horoscopes and stuff like that, all kind of stuff that I was dabbling in. And like you said, didn't think nothing. Gemini, little TikToks, literally still got them up because I want to show people, like, no, I'm not talking from the side of my neck. I've been there. I dabbled in this stuff. Tarot, I went through that. Psychics, all of that. Got my whole soulmate sketched out and stuff like this. I went through all of that stuff. Love spells, all of that. I went through it. And so that's the reason why I decided to get serious about it, because it's not taught in churches. And you find yourself perishing for the lack of knowledge, going down just the deep end because you don't know. You don't know no better. You know what I'm saying? So
how has your journey been, of moving forward? Like you said, you have rededicated yourself to the Lord. Tell me a pain and a glory part of your journey.
The painful part of my journey, I would have to say, is God taking away the things that I thought I loved and needed. He took it all away. Him revealing me to me. That was a very ugly experience. Like, because there's an arrogance about us that we have, where we think that we treat people right, we have positive attitude, we pay tithes, we do this, we do that, but really our hearts are ugly. And God showed me who I was in his eyes, and it was very disappointing. It was very heartbreaking to see that, and to feel that I was letting him down, that I'm thinking I'm a good human being, but in reality I'm working for the enemy, and that really hurt me. That really, really hurt me. But on the other hand, a glory in my entire journey is that no matter how much I ran away from church, no matter how much I turned my back on God, no matter how much, it is something that it is something about me that he loves so much that he will never let me go too far. I can't go too deep, because every time I've ever tried to get away from him, he pulled me back in. I don't have a choice at this point. I'm about to be 36, and I'm telling you, I don't have a choice but to stay with him. Whoever I am in his eyes, I can't escape him. I can't get away from him. You know? And that's the glory to me, because it just makes me feel so loved. It makes me feel so safe, so protected. And I don't want to lose that feeling, because I tried to find it in the world and I couldn't find it. I don't want to. This is the feeling that the elders talk about, who really have a heart for God. This is that feeling. And I found it at 36 years old. It took me 36 years. And I grew up in the church. You would think that I would have known it, but I didn't know it, because my heart wasn't in the right place. It wasn't in the right position. And I've been through hell and back. And now I know what that feel like. I know what that peace feel like. I know what that protection feel like. I know what that love feel like. Like, I can't escape this man. Like, not even if I tried, I couldn't escape God,
Yeah. Good.
And that's
So
the
now
love of a
we're going
father.
to get into the fun part of this interview, okay? And
Okay.
this, would you rather? Okay, you up for a game?
We about to get messy.
Yeah. You
Okay.
got it. So, who would you rather be from the Bible? It could be anybody from the Bible. Who would you want to be?
I wouldn't want to be Jesus, because I don't think I would have had the strength to endure like that.
Oh my God.
Even Jesus had a human moment. He said, God, is there another way?
He showed it.
I couldn't. And I'm honest, I couldn't be Jesus. It would probably be, and this is probably cliche, but it will probably be either Esther or Ruth.
Why?
Because of that loyalty. They was like this, like, wherever you go, I go. And I understand human behavior, human needs, and human beings. We need that. Even the Bible says it's not good for man to be alone.
Right.
And we need that connection. So I love that relationship that they had with each other. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it was such a beautiful connection, a beautiful relationship that they had. So it would have to be one of those women.
Right. Okay. Would you rather be hungry or thirsty?
Girl, I'd rather be thirsty, girl, because I get cranky when I'm hungry. I'd rather be thirsty.
I'm a foodie too, baby. Right.
I get real angry.
Okay. Would you rather be hot or cold?
Hot. I'm from the Caribbean. I can deal with it. I'm from Miami, Florida. I can deal with the heat. I'm born in the island. I can deal with it. I hate the cold. Right. I can't stand the cold air. I can't stand it.
Eat cake or pie?
Cake.
Cake. Me too. I'm a cake person.
Yep.
Okay. Fruits or vegetables?
I have to choose
Uh,
one. I eat fruits.
fruit, yeah. I'm a fruit person. Which type of both?
Yeah,
Chicken, beef, or pork?
chicken and fry it hard the first time. Deep fry it hard the first time.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm finna. Okay, Walmart or Target?
It depends on what I'm going for. Cause I just feel like Target is real classy based. Like, you know, you get in and out. You don't have to worry about people fighting in the aisles. You know, Target real classy based. So it just depends on what I'm going for. If it's a high end product, I'm gonna go to Target.
Right.
If it's something that I know is real cheap, you know, real quick, I'll go to Walmart and have to deal with the lines and all that foolishness. Cause so both
All on
of
the
them.
budget, baby.
I like both of them.
Right. Would you rather drive or fly?
I'll fly. I'll fly.
Stay in your city or move?
Move. I live in Houston. I live in Houston right now, and I'm ready to move.
Not too much, baby. Okay,
I'm ready to go. No, I actually want to move to Dallas. Like that's where I want to go. That's where I want to go, and I'm just waiting on the word. God say, "Go." I'm gone. I want to go to Dallas so bad.
Go. All right.
Yes. Yes, Dallas is where it's at.
I love Dallas. I would rather be anywhere. Seriously, I love Dallas. I love Dallas. And my husband, he grew up in Cali, and he's like, wow. Yeah, so he loves Dallas too. Be in love and never leaving the US, or be lonely but travel the world.
Be in love.
Me too. I ain't got to go nowhere, baby, but I need some love.
Yeah, what am I travel for? And I don't have nobody to share it with. You know, these experiences is meant to be shared. So if I can't share it with, then I'll just sit in the United States and be in love and booed up.
Right. Okay, so I'm gonna give you 3 names, and I need you to tell me first thought. Okay, so this game is called First Thoughts. Okay, so I'll give you 3 names, and you just tell me what comes to mind. Okay.
Is this biblical names or like celebrities or what?
Yeah, just people out there. You know, we dealing with the body of Christ, though. But you just tell me what comes to mind whenever you hear their names. You can tell me why, or you can just leave it where it's at. Okay.
Okay.
All right, and I'm telling you, we're out of here. Okay, TDJ.
All right. I was about to say something. Can I really say what I want?
Say what I'm first thing that come to mind. First thought.
Power bottom. Getting swallowed. I'm sorry. It's the first thing that came to my mind. Power bottom. I can't unsee it. Like,
I mean, did you hear about the latest allegations that he was brought up in P. Diddy's trial, and that in his court documents, and that P. Diddy was talking about leveraging whatever he got to have their relationship help him look better in the public against the allegations with Cassie. So that just came out.
Yeah.
What you think about that?
That was my comment. Like, I honestly feel like that's why he went to Jake's. And you know, being a pastor, you have to deal with people. You got to deal with the sinners. You can't cast them away. Right. You're called to deal with the sinners. But he should have had more discernment, more wisdom to know that maybe the optics of him being seen with this guy perpetually is not a good look. Mm-hmm. You know, he was seen with him at his house at one of his parties. Him and his wife, they were dancing and carrying on. Like, come on, like he had to know that the optics of this just don't look good. That's what the old folks used to say. It just don't look good.
Yeah, don't let
He had to know it.
spoken of.
He had to know it. So whether the allegations are true or not about him being homosexual or whatever, I don't know. I wasn't there, but Jake's kind of put himself in this situation to even be accused of anything.
What about Mike Todd? You know Pastor Mike Todd?
Yes, I know Pastor Mike Todd. That's the guy. Hold on, let me adjust this real quick. That's the pastor that he spit on the guy's face or something, right? Like, yeah, gross. That's what comes to my mind. Absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Like, what would make you think to do that? And also what comes to mind about him is he's very immature. He's very immature in Christ, like very, very immature. And that's not judgment, because we all start as babies, but when you pick up the responsibility to lead a bunch of people, you need to be mature. Absolutely. You just have to be. And all the buffoonery, the antics and all that, it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary. Yeah. But he's gross. That was gross.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. And lastly, Tiffany Montgomery.
Tiffany Montgomery?
Yeah, prophetess Tiffany Montgomery.
I don't know who that is.
About her.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, so she was the one that called out the church members from going to Beyonce's concert. It was like a year ago. She went viral.
A black lady, right?
Yeah, she's a black, and the prophetess Tiffany Montgomery, and she called out the members, and they drug her, for a while, because how dare her call out Queen Beyonce?
You know what? The church gonna be going to hell on the school bus, because they gonna get together on the school bus and they gonna ride down to hell. Because how dare you? First of all, I don't know what it is with people. They just think that Beyonce is some saint when she's blatantly blasphemous, like blatantly. She tells you, she curses God in the open. Yeah. So for church members who say that they're holy and this and that to defend her, God gonna send them to the same place they gonna send Beyonce, because Beyonce time is coming. Like, we're gonna see it with our own two eyes. We're gonna see a mighty move of God in her life in the worst way. Come back to this video in a couple of years. In the worst way, we're going to witness a mighty move of God in her and her husband's life for the things that they've done behind the scenes that we don't know about. It's about to get exposed. So I don't know. The church, they really need to give it up. Like Beyonce, she practices witchcraft heavily. She's a high-ranking witch, and for somebody to correct the church and give them actual guidance, for them to drag her like that, because I believe we're talking about the same woman, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. For them to say the things that they said about her, I feel like it's wrong. I feel like it's foul. But then again, when the prophets and the prophetess, God sent them out into the world to prophesy to the people and give them warnings of destruction and whatnot, people don't listen. So God bless Tiffany for doing what God told her to do. Whoever had ears to hear her, let them hear her. Whoever didn't, oh well. It's up to you.
That is it with James. Thank you for being a excited and enthused participant.
Thank you.
Please let people know where they can reach out to you to get more information about your story, quite possibly, or to get more information in regards to the occult.
Actually, I don't even have anything set up, because like I said, this is my first time ever doing an interview about anything, and I was just like so excited. But I'm on TikTok, Lisa _this_ Lisa that. Okay, y'all can reach me on TikTok. My journey is a very real journey. Like, I don't hide anything. I don't sugarcoat anything. You can go on my timeline all the way back from when I first got TikTok, and I was on there listening to rap music and cursing and doing everything to now where you see me not cursing so much and doing, so you can go back, you can follow me if you want to. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, please reach out to me, send me a message in TikTok Messenger, and I will respond to everybody. Like I'm not tripping. I'll get back to you at some point. I'll get back to you. But yeah, I don't have anything else set up where people could reach me, but that's one platform where you can check me out.
Thank you so much again, Lisa, for sharing your story here. And I will be praying you through. We connected on, TikTok and now.
Yep.
Like, you need me to help you pray you through something. Seriously, I'm here. And in any way, shape, or form that I can help you, and I'm happy to hear that, you're getting some kind of revelation from what God is giving me to give on TikTok. Girl, the struggle be real on there. But
yes, and that's what I like about you. I'm like, man, she's not like uber churchy. Like, she's talking about the things that church people really like, which is like celebrities, things that's going on in the world. And she's tying it back to the Bible and making it either make sense or, convicting, basically just convicting. Like, this is false. This is not of God. We shouldn't be doing this as followers of Christ, And I really dig that about you. I really, really dig that about you. I feel like God is going to take your platform and magnify that thing. Like, he is going to magnify what it is that you're doing. So don't stop doing what you're doing. We are watching. We are learning. We are paying attention. We love you. We love your personality, your realness, just how down to earth you are. Like, you made me feel so comfortable, even though I'm just a regular degular with no following. And, you just made me feel so comfortable to come on here and share my story. So God bless you. We love you. I love you. And God bless what it is that you're doing.
Thank you so much. Well, again, you guys, thank y'all for tuning in. And I will see you guys on the next interview. Until then, God bless.
God bless.
Thank you so very much for tuning into this video. I pray that you got something from it. And if you did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. And let me know down in the comments what you thought about the video. As well as please follow me on all my social media. You can see it down here. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Until then, God bless.